This is an overview of the newly remastered thermal system in GliderSim. In our latest update, we now take into account factors such as the time of day, sun angle, and ground surface type. These factors ensure thermals generate in more realistic positions. Additionally, we've enhanced thermal drift, cloud formation under thermals, and the interaction between thermals and the glider, creating an even more dynamic and immersive experience. Let's take a deeper dive into these new features. You now have the ability to change the time of day in GliderSim. You could fly from the first light of sunrise or to the fading glow of sunset. The time you select now has a direct influence on thermal activity. During the early morning hours, you'll encounter fewer to no thermals. However, as you advance the time to later in the day, you'll notice a significant increase in thermals forming. Let's set the time to around 10 a.m. and turn debug mode on so you can see the algorithm work its magic. You'll notice green lines representing sun rays. These rays are sampling the ground and calculating a sun intensity variable. The first factor the algorithm evaluates is the angle at which the sun strikes the terrain. The more direct the angle, the higher the intensity value. As a result, sunward facing slopes register higher values, while flatter terrain shows lower values here, and in the shaded areas where the sun doesn't hit, the value drops to 0. Next, the algorithm assesses the terrain type. Each type of ground surface affects the sun intensity variable differently. For instance, when a ray hits the trees, the value decreases due to the absorption of sunlight by the vegetation, making thermals less likely there. However, when the sun hits a surface like rock, gravel, dirt, or concrete, the value increases, enhancing the likelihood of thermal formation. If the sun intensity variable reaches a certain threshold, a thermal spawns at that location. Let's see how the thermals are populating across the map. By navigating to the Weather tab, we can activate a feature called Thermal Placement. This reveals the location of all active thermals, marked by yellow dots. As we approach a thermal, the display transitions to show the thermal size and radius. You'll notice that thermals have a smaller radius closer to the ground and expand as they rise. As we scan the map, it's clear thermals are forming on sunward-facing areas and on rocky, gravelly surfaces, just as we would expect to find in the real world. Each thermal will spawn clouds once it reaches cloud base. Clouds are key indicators for glider pilots to locate active thermals. Under the right conditions, the system will even form cloud streets along ridges or slopes, mirroring a phenomenon frequently encountered in real life. Now, let's set the wind to 15 kilometers per hour. Notice the weather will reset and thermals begin to repopulate. Wind will cause the thermals to slant and clouds to form downwind of their origin. This simulates the effect of thermal drift, which is commonly encountered in real-world soaring. For a less obtrusive visual aid, we can enable thermal particles. This shows small orange particles rising within the thermal and can help you spot thermals more easily. Let's go ahead and enter a thermal with our paraglider with the particles active. As we approach, pay attention to the wing behavior. Each cell of the wing reacts independently to lift, so if one side starts to dip or rise, it's a sign we're on the edge of a thermal. At the periphery, expect some turbulence and downdrafts. But as we move into the thermal, the wing begins to lift, and you'll hear the variometer beep, signaling increasing altitude. The closer we get to the thermal core, the stronger the lift becomes. Pouring a thermal is a challenging but crucial skill. Our visual aids can help you grasp this concept more easily. For an even clearer view of the thermal's core, we can activate particle trails. Once in the core, we can ride it all the way to cloud base. Now, for those seeking a more authentic experience, you can of course turn off all visual aids and rely solely on the variometer, the clouds, and the natural feedback from the wing's interaction with the thermal. And while you're up there, keep an eye out for the eagles. They're experts at finding and circling thermals, and they could be a helpful guide to finding the best lift. It's also important to note that thermal positions are synced across multiplayer, allowing pilots to search and core thermals together. The new thermal system also plays a crucial role in the new cross-country challenges, which can also be flown in multiplayer. Understanding and utilizing thermals is key to achieving high scores on the leaderboards. We hope you enjoy the new and improved thermal system in Glider Sim. Now, by paying attention to the sun angle, the terrain type, and the cloud formations within Glider Sim, you can effectively locate those elusive thermals. We're constantly working on improvements, so stay tuned for more updates. Be sure to check out Glider Sim on Steam and the MetaQuest virtual reality headset. And don't forget to join our ever-growing Discord community, where we look forward to hearing your feedback. Alright, hope to see you in the skies, and happy soaring.